What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hustle Kitchen podcast. Today's guest, what can I say about today's guest? A man that I attribute, changed my life, changed my mindset, has so much beautiful things to share with me, with the world, with everyone. Everyone would be inspired to listen to him. Ahmed Bahman, Napoleon Hill Institute certified coach. He's been studying this for years. Changed lives. Ahmed, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you, Brother Hussein. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor that you have provided me with the privilege and with your trust to guide you through. And can I say I'm very proud of you because the steps that I have shown you, you've truly embodied them. And seeing the difference in you made a bigger difference in me.
I love that. Well, you know, we're all here to help and support each other.
Absolutely.
Ahmed, I want to take us back. Okay.
Yes.
I want to take us back in time. So how did you even stumble across Napoleon Hill Institute? What was it in your, not necessarily the Institute, what took you to a place years, if you think back years ago, on just wanting to learn to help people to change lives? What drove you there?
Well, everyone has a different scenario in life, and people do hit rock bottom, right? You go to school in hopes that one day you're going to be someone who's going to do something great in your life and move on and help others along the way. I didn't understand how the education system worked back in the day. I mean, there was a lot of successful people out there, degrees to the farthest end, furthest that you can imagine, but they're struggling, right? My father was telling me, I want you to be a doctor. I said, fine, but I didn't feel like I want to go into the field of medicine. Now, if you talk about holistic side of things, I was very much more in tune with that because I believe God gave us everything that we need. And we only had to be more aware of the things that we have. So I dropped out of high school, but I managed to get into college. And I thought I finally made it. As soon as I graduated, I got another reality check. Now I'm jobless, right? So I carried on with my first job as a multilingual researcher for a credit reporting company.
In Bahrain.
In Bahrain. Spent there just 1 week before I landed with a job at Citibank in the credit risk department. And I thought being a banker was a dream job that I wanted to have. A little over a year, I quit that job because it literally drained me. I'd be there from 7 a.m., leaving sometimes at 10, 11 p.m. When we had the audit risk review that was supposed to come in a couple of months, for those 2 months, I didn't have a freaking day off. So I was like, there's got to be more to life than this.
So it wasn't for you?
It wasn't for me. But I was always fascinated with philosophy, with motivational speeches. I was a big fan of Tony Robbins back in the day. And then at that same time, this was way back in 2008, one day I went to Jawad Dome Food Garden and I saw there was this ad. It was discussing about network marketing. So that was not the first time that I came across network marketing.
Was that Quest?
No, I did
QNet
get myself involved with
Bahrain,
Quest.
yeah.
But
like half of Bahrain did at the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, but this was a bit different. I met wonderful people, and it was a network marketing company based on education. It was called Success University. So they had a platform where they had professionals teaching in different areas of their specialized knowledge and you get to know the hottest tips from each of their own industry and carry on with your life. The guy that I was introduced to, a very wonderful dear friend of mine, he lives in Abu Dhabi now. His name is Munir al-Busaidi.
I know Munir. Good guy.
Beautiful guy. So we used to go to his house, and that was the first time that I ever heard him say, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He used to conduct his seminars there for us on a whiteboard, breaking down, the compensation plan, what the network marketing company had to offer, how he's doing so well. And you know what? It was the first time that I managed to make some money out of any network marketing company. So that triggered something in me. I said, how come? How is it that previously any network marketing company I went to, I couldn't make a single 100 fills?
Yeah.
You know? And I thought, the product was good. Don't get me wrong. It sells itself even.
You talking about the Napoleon Hill or the other ones?
Whatever the university was supplying.
Yes.
But the way Munir trained us
Yes.
was a bit different. The way Munir taught us on how to use the principles in that book was a game changer. And I was not aware anything about the mind or the subconscious mind or law of attraction or the law of vibration, but I figured there was something greater out there. So I quit from the bank because I started making money, right?
It's a big decision.
It's a big decision. And then I went wholeheartedly in to Success University. A week later, the company shut down.
Success University.
Success University. They had the
pyramid collapsed.
Not necessarily. the Indian government, they had their account in India.
Yeah.
So they decided to freeze their account.
Okay.
Then they merged with another company, World Ventures, but it just didn't cut it for me anymore.
Yeah.
I was not very much into the travel industry.
Yeah.
So here I was, again, jobless. And I was like, okay, what can I do? So what would the first thing anyone do? Get in touch with your network.
Yeah.
So I had a colleague in the bank who her husband was in the education industry. And I got an offer from IDP. Now, IDP was a sort of like an agency for Australian universities.
Okay.
I went through them before going to college to Australia. And I was an education consultant with them. Now I was on a probational base. I spent a month and a half with them. And when they offered me my compensation package, our contract, I just didn't feel that was the right kind of contract for me. So I stopped that as well.
Been starting and stopping quite a lot of things over there in the younger years, huh?
Absolutely. And I was in a phase where I was about to get married as well. So I was focusing on what would be the quickest way that I could start a family. You reach to a certain time in life where you prioritize things a bit differently. And that was my priority back then. My personal life had quite a big twist and turns that a couple of months down the line from there on, I just moved to Miami. Now keep in mind, now we're in 2009, in November. I've heard about the movie The Secret for 3 years, but I never actually watched it. So I played the movie once while I was in Miami, and I'm looking at it. And I thought it was a movie. I didn't know it was a documentary.
It's a book, actually. Yeah.
It started as a book.
Mm.
And the movie is based... the book is a narration of whatever was said in that movie. And every single participant, every single coach, every single philosopher who has been part of this movement knew something, and you could feel it, right? You feel it. But you start to wonder, how do they do it? How they feel so much confidence, so much belief, and they do get the results, but you feel like, I want to feel the same way, right? So I started Googling the people that were on that movie. This is 2009. A year and a half down the line after that. Now we're in March 2011. Now, I didn't only watch The Secret. I found out that in 2007, there was another movie that was released that was called Beyond the Secret.
Okay, never checked that one out.
And a couple of years down the line, there was a third movie, which was called The Meta Secret. Now, I found something in common with all of these documentaries. There was one figure that really, I felt very drawn to him, based on his attitude, the way he presented everything, let alone the way he presented himself. And that is Bob Proctor. So I started to find out more about him. I started researching about him. Until I landed, found that he had a company. It was called Life Success Consultants. And I said, I want to study more about this man, because the kind of feelings that he gives me, I know he can teach me well. And I know I have that confidence in him, right? Sometimes when you want to do something that you feel that it's way beyond your control, your belief in that someone else that believes in you is worth gold.
Yeah.
It's very valuable.
Would you say that is something that we seek in our friendships and relationships in life?
You see,
someone to give just that, to believe in you and ignite you in a way to give you more self-belief.
The issue is, as children, when we're passing through our childhood, we've always sought validation, right? In order to feel better about doing whatever we want to do. But that's bondage. That's literally bondage. What I learned from Bob, the way he was teaching that, and the way he was doing it, not what he was only saying, but the way he was doing it, you can really sense that he doesn't take validation from nobody. He had a very wonderful mentor who taught him public speaking. His name was Bill Gove. Now, Bob describes him as the Frank Sinatra of all the speakers.
Okay.
Right? And Bill Gove told him, and he shared this in his very famous speech, and he goes, if I want to be free, I've got to be me.
That is 100% what I believe. And it's 100% what changed my life when I embodied that statement.
He said, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. Not the me that you think I should be.
Love it.
Not the me that my wife thinks I should be.
Love it.
Not the me that my kids think I should be.
So true.
If I want to be free, I've got to be me. But I got to know who me is. I got to know thyself.
That is such a powerful, powerful statement. And I know that because I've gone through that. It's until you know who you are. When you know who you are, when you know what you can do and who you can be, then you are free.
It's not that you never knew who you are. Our problem is that we believe that he can do it, she can do it, but not me. It's until you believe in yourself that you can do what you have always known that you can do. You see, it's not who we are, as Sandy Gallagher stated. It's not who we are that holds us back, not our true self. It's who we think we're not.
Who we think we're not.
You are who you say you are. But it's your intellectual mind that talks you out of it.
Is it limited self-belief?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think you're touching on a really credible point. Okay. So if someone's listening right now,
yes,
and they're living their life and they're, let's say, not happy with where they are, or they might be happy, I don't know, but they want to achieve more, but they might not believe they can, as you said. You know, I mean, what differentiates, let's call it, someone who treads along this, okay, I can't go any higher, so let me just continue where I am, and the one who just breaks free?
It's their conditioning. It's your paradigm. And what is a paradigm? A paradigm is nothing but a multitude of habits you picked up along the way from childhood, adolescence, throughout adulthood. And the older you get, the more hardwired it becomes.
How do you change that?
There's only two ways. Either a sudden emotional impact or through repetition of affirmations. But it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. With an emotional impact, it happens, but it comes with a price to pay, right? There is a smoother version, an effortless way, but only if you apply it, you're going to see it. Why do I say that? Because I cannot give it to you. I know this works for me beautifully. It works for a lot of people beautifully, but only those that apply it will get to see the change as a reflection. Here's the thing. Ask yourself this question. Now, this goes for the wealthy lot, right? You'll have a lot of people, they're so rich, but they're unhappy. They have all the time in the world and all the money in the world.
Yes.
Ask yourself this question. If money and time is not an issue for me, what is it that I really want? And I bet you they probably never asked, let alone if they have even written it down. If you don't know what you want, I suggest you find out. If you're not living a life with a purpose worth living, you're not living at all. You're not living at all. You see, man's biggest burden is unfulfilled potential. Go to the graveyard. How many tombstones do you see?
Lots.
How many dreams have been buried?
Millions, thousands.
How many people had the potential to do something about it, yet they didn't?
You know, it's interesting. When I like going to the graveyard as a reminder, you know, of it. For me, it's not so much of unfulfilled potential, because I feel like when you're dead, you're dead. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, who cares what after that what happens, right? I mean, that's for me. But seeing the graveyard reminds me that we're all going to die. So time will end. So what is the worst that's going to happen if you try while you're alive? You know, like whilst you're breathing, it's like, if that's the end, what are you afraid of while you're standing here right now? Why are you not going all out?
Here's what really struck me one day. I had a very I got to know someone. And he was a brother of a colleague of mine from work.
Mm.
He had terminal illness, and I used to visit him. I went really all out for this guy. You know, helping him improve the mindset, as well as a lot of nutritional changes, a lot of herbs, and he really connected with me. Like, I would hear from his family members saying that he would not listen to anyone but you. And something happened to him. His health collapsed quite to a great degree that he was hospitalized. So a month and a half or a little less than 2 months, he passed away. His passing away ignited something in me. It literally did.
What was that?
That I was meant to serve. You see, everybody gets a higher calling at any given time. And the most thing that struck me was went through a couple of funerals. I lost my uncle and I lost a cousin. And when someone passes away, they say, يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. Right? So I started translating that in my head, and it says, يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة, oh confident soul, ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. Go back to your Lord. Be pleased that you're going back to your Lord, and that you're also pleased upon yourself. It triggered a question in me. I told myself, Ahmed, are you pleased with yourself? Like, if I was in the state where if I would fall today, am I ready to go? It went so deep in my heart, and I said, wow. I said, I want to make a difference. All the information that I have bottled up in me from all the trainings, from all the teachings that I have learned throughout the years, I want everyone to benefit. Wouldn't it be amazing? You're raising your own community with you, seeing a change in this environment.
Absolutely.
How much of a difference would it make for society?
Massive.
Massive.
I have to ask you a question. So, I've met a lot of people in my life, you know, in all parts of the world, all walks of life.
Absolutely.
When you speak from the heart. I can feel it. I can sense it. I can see it, right? It's like there's this like selfless thing that, you know, like the higher purpose, as you say, you know, like where does that come from? Have you always been like that?
I guess as a child I was, in a sense of connecting with people more on an emotional level. I was very much of an introvert. I was not very social. But I would usually spend a lot of time with elderly. I was very close to my grandfather. And my grandfather always used to say, don't react when somebody treats you wrong. You know? If somebody treats you wrong, embrace them and give them a kiss on the forehead. I didn't know why he was telling me that. You know? As I started studying, I realized that there is no separation. I'm not a religious scholar, right? I'm not a priest of any kind. But the things that I have seen, heard, applied, and experienced has opened my eyes from different perceptions and dimensions, right? I'm no greater than anyone. Neither anyone else is greater than you and I. We're all equal in potential. Now, physically, in this 3D realm, which is actually nothing but a realm of effects, it's something that you can only see through your eyes, which is called sight, by the reflection of the photons that is produced by light, right? So you see through your eyes. But who are you in reality? This is the question. Are you sensing yourself as a body, that you have a soul? Do you feel like sometimes you're having spiritual experiences? Or the other way around? Now, every religious text tells us that we have infinite potential if we only believe. Right? We say, for example, I know a lot of people, they tell me I'm religious. I said, fine, go ahead. By all means, I'm proud of you.
They tell you you're religious or they're religious?
Them.
Them, okay.
Right? I tell them I'm proud of you. But when something goes wrong, that faith is not there. And I kept questioning. And this goes to all religions, regardless.
Yes, of course. I find true faith, in my experience, to be hidden. Yeah. It's the ones that eyes can't see, meaning it's the ones that who put on the show to show that they're religious tend to be less religious than the ones who keep it in their heart and have it within.
Truth. If you look at veins of gold or veins of silver or even diamonds, they're never above the surface, but they're of high value. So your true essence of being that you are, you're a soul. You're a spiritual being that's hidden in the creation itself, which you call yourself human. But the problem is that most people have lost this connection. You see, everybody's living through their sensory factors. Hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. They say, oh, this is real. No. It's just a sphere and a realm of effects. You have 6 higher faculties, which is imagination. It's one of them. Reason, will, memory, perception, and intuition. Everybody has it. Now get this. When I said that we all are equal in opportunity, it's because your spiritual DNA is perfect. Perfect. It's made from the same exact substance and that same capacity that you and I and everyone else in the world that has it. They're all it, actually. Not that they have it, they are it. But we lack awareness.
What kind of awareness are we talking about here? And you're bringing, because you're triggering my mind, because you're bringing up a very good point. You're provoking my mind here, because it's like, yes, on the inside we are all souls and we are all spirits, regardless of how we look on the outside and regardless of any physical attributions. What is that awareness that we seek?
Here's the thing. Bring in a mass of people that go for prayer. They're all praying for certain things. Some pray with a lot of faith and absolute belief that they receive it, that their prayers are answered, right? But everybody's praying. Why does only a few of them get it? And the masses till this day, they're asking for something and it never comes. God,
Yeah.
we all agree that God is infinite, right?
Yes.
Now, it depends on, for those that believe and those that don't, it's up to them. Most people in today's world, they like to think of different terms for calling God. Some of them, they want to call it the divine mind. They want to call it the field. They want to call it the universe, whatever they call
They're
it.
asking someone somewhere.
It's a higher power.
A higher power.
If what you're asking for is not with all of your heart, then you're not going to feel it.
Because you don't believe it?
Because you're not going to believe it.
And is it? That you bring up something really interesting here. It's like, is it that when you're asking for something, and it's almost like, okay, if you live in the West, we're all buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people buy lottery tickets. That's why the jackpot becomes so big. But I don't think anyone believes they'll actually win the ticket, but they'll just buy one anyway just in case they happen to win it. You know what I mean? But they'll never, they know they're not going to win it. But it's like that tiny fraction of hope, let's call it, right? Would you say that is the same thing? So you're going to the mosque, you're praying, and you're like, yeah, I don't really believe anything that's going to happen. But you know what do I have to lose by asking? Because I have no other option. It's like, and the one who believes, who's confident, God is there, God is this thing, and this will happen because I believe, I have my faith in my Lord, my creation. That is the one that actually moves things, and things happen for him because it's almost like by you not believing it, it's like it's a lack of faith in itself.
Absolutely. Let me put it this way.
That's really interesting.
The source of everything is God. Or you want to call it the divine mind or field for those.
Let's just call it God.
Let's call it God. That's my term.
We believe in God.
Absolutely.
It's God.
It's God. God deserves to be acknowledged in his rightful terms.
100%. Yeah. We don't need to justify that.
No. If you look at the trees, right? If you look at the plankton in the water that gives life and oxygen, actually most of the oxygen in the world is not from the trees. It's from the ocean. It's from the plankton. A lot of fishes are fed by the plankton. So this whole world is recycled. There's no shortcoming of anything. There's never a lack in supply. Our holy book, and every other holy book, has tremendous evidences and proofs of God's bounty, right? What did God say in our holy book? وَعَلَى نِيَاتِكُمْ تُرْزَقُونَ. Now, where is your intention when you want to do something? Are you being selfish? Or you're holding God in your heart and moving forward? You see, I suffered and I paid a great price because I was attached to people and I was attached to things outside of me. And a lot of times things went downhill. I was hospitalized. I was, going for example, meeting a few psychologists along the way at a point in my life. And I was like, what is this life? It's like there is something, but you just can't put your finger on top of it, right? Everything is shifting continuously. Nothing stays still. Not even a dead body stays still. You'll say, yeah, the body's solid, but it's actually not. Then why on earth it would turn into ashes? So this is where I started to study a bit more. And I kept just getting deeper and deeper, trying to reason with what I was reading and listening. As I was studying whatever material I was studying at that time, I was having an inner conflict. I was like, no, this must be against my religion, or this must be against, or maybe they're into some other spiritual cults and stuff like that. I was like, no. Until I literally got to know the people that were doing very well at it. And I didn't give all into this material until I found other people, even from our Islamic culture, who explain it. And I was like, wow, I never seen people explaining it in my area or in my environment of friends and community, family. There's only a selected few that they'd love to teach, you know. For us, it was always about, if you do this, you go to heaven, or if you do this, you go to hell, you know. But they never really teach you about...
It's very surface level.
Yeah.
Very surface level stuff.
Yeah.
Heaven, hell, it's like there's never the why.
Never the why. Then it's either you're greedy for heaven or you do things because you don't want to go to hell. Yeah. But you know, either or, that you're missing the point.
It's like Imam Ali sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, right? Are you worshipping the worship of a tradesman, a slave, or a free man? Yeah. And that is so true. Yeah. Did you reach that point of freedom? I personally don't pray anymore because of heaven or hell. I'm okay with either way. I can only live my life my way. Whatever happens, happens. But I am doing it from I do what I do every day from a good intention. Now, whether someone wants to come along and say to me, well, what you're doing, oh, this is going to go to heaven for this, going to go to hell for this, I believe God knows my intention and what it's going, and I can feel like I can live a free life that way.
See, when you're doing it out of love, for the love of God alone, it's different. So then one day there's another phrase in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, or there's a saying, أَلَا بِذِكْرَ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. Why wouldn't the remembrance of God bring peace to the heart? And I was like, yeah, it does every time when you think of it. You know, especially if you keep your conscience clean, right? You didn't do anything wrong. You don't have that inner narrative that is dragging you down. I was like, what a beautiful thing. So I realized I was always in a phase where at times I would be very religious and spiritual, and everything's going great, like internally in my heart, right?
Happy, inner peace.
I feel happy, that inner peace. And then because I'm not in the habit of maintaining that, I let go, and I feel like I want to do something. I want this to happen and that to happen. But then inside of me, there's something getting stirred up and saying, do you deserve it?
Absolutely. That is how I don't mind sharing this, but that was actually the conversation I came to you for. Where I was like, I always feel like I go 90% of the way there and I self-sabotage myself along the way subconsciously, because maybe deep down I believe I don't deserve it because of things that I've in my life in the past, you know? And that is where you made me like realize like it's a thought, and you helped me break free of that. And then when I did feel like, no, I do deserve it actually, and everything changed.
It's because you allowed yourself. You gave yourself the feeling of worthiness. You see, we don't attract in life what we want. We can only attract who we are. And who we are stems from who we become. A lot of people out there, they talk about law of attraction and how it works and all of that, but I'll tell you, you will know by their fruits you shall know them. I think that's in the Bible saying. Just look at the results. See the kind of effect they give upon you. Right? If they cannot provide a genuine emotional connection with you, then you can sense it. Why can you sense it? Because the law of attraction is nothing but a secondary law. The primary law is a law of vibration. 98% of the communication when you speak with someone, it's nonverbal. It's only 2% that it's verbal.
Wow.
2%.
So all that talking I do is just 2%.
No, but I've seen your content. I know the kind of emotions that emits from you as you're conveying the message to them. You see, I will tell you a certain information, but if I'm not backing it with feelings, it's meaningless. Now, my job is, how can I make you not only see the image of what I hold, but how can I make you have the same feeling that you can resonate with me? You be with me on that vibe, right?
Yeah.
This is how you intuitively connect with the other person heart to heart.
That's how you move people.
Yeah.
And you can only do that if you fully believe in what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely, itself. Yeah. So I have to be in that state of being, of belief.
So let me ask you a question. For people listening again, what kind of people, I mean, I know it's for everyone, what you teach is for everyone, but what kind of people would you say is like a typical, not typical, someone who most needs your help with these directions and sessions that they can really benefit from?
Well, if you're in a point of life where you feel you're stuck, give me a call. I will identify your issue, but I will not work with your issue. I will help you and guide you through the solution. Your issue is your issue. The reason why you have whatever you have is because you always look at it mentally, emotionally. It shows in your behavior. You've conditioned yourself that way, whether it's in your relationships between friends and family, whether career, whether, whatever you're facing in college. Your self-image is who you say you are, and believe that to be true. And guess what you're going to reflect? The exact same thing, what you narrate to yourself day in, day out.
Okay. This is really interesting. I believe it was with you, and I'm sure I've heard it before, but I'm sure you've said it as well. It's like, be careful what you say.
Yes.
What you tell yourself, you'll manifest yourself.
Absolutely.
So using even negative words can negatively affect you. So it's almost like, I wouldn't call it, I think brainwashing is the wrong word. It's like you're self-manifesting what you're saying into reality. So does that mean we should identify who we want to be, how that person is, and then live that person's life?
100%. But with the absolute belief that you are. You see, people usually are lacking in two areas initially. It's weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. Like I speak to some people and they tell me, I tell them, you got to see the whole picture. They say, but I can't, I'm not there yet. I said, no. I said, be like Picasso. Dream your painting and paint your dream. See it. See it, live in the spirit of things. You've no idea how quick your vibe can change.
Lack of attention. When you, I want to go back. What do you mean by lack of attention? In which sense?
You see, they want something. Let me go back to what Bob Proctor explained. That you continuously, if you want to maintain the course, you got to be in a 3-plane of understanding. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions must be in sync. See, most people, they say they want something, right? But they're not feeling it. They're just not feeling it. And what they're doing is completely off track. There's no alignment. So they have lack of attention. They don't have focus. They're distracted.
There's a lack of dedication as well.
Yeah, dedication is comes with a burning desire. And you have to use your will to overcome. Initially, it's quite challenging because you're not habitually used to it.
And you're telling yourself something you don't believe.
You're telling yourself something you don't believe. But as Napoleon Hill stated, if you repeat a lie long enough to yourself, you're going to end up believing it.
Yeah.
Let alone it may come to pass.
Yeah.
I like a poem from James Allen. He wrote a book in 1903. He said, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." And he said a beautiful poem. And he goes, "Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind. And evermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass." And I was like, when I heard that poem, Bob Proctor said it. And he goes, have you ever thought of someone in your mind, and you're like, oh gosh, I miss this person and all that. And you wouldn't know, maybe the same day or a couple of days later, you might see them, bump into them, or they might receive a call from them.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, that can't be a coincidence, right? There is a reason. As Ralph Waldo Emerson stated.
And we say, speaking of the devil, as they call you at that moment when you're talking about the person.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It's all energy. It's all energy that you're putting out from the base and the core of who you really are. You're a electromagnetic being. There's something, you're made up of something that is beyond of what you call this physical body. Science talks about it, right? So we go down to flesh. You go down to the blood, the bones, the bone marrow, right? You have all these organs. You go down to the cells, right? To the mitochondria. You go down to your DNA. You go down to your atoms. You go down to the atomic particles, which consists of protons, neutrons in the core of it. And there's a lot of electrons floating around it. But you know what's funny about it? An atom is 99% hollow. So what are you made up of if you're 99% hollow? It's energy. But this energy is not there without intelligence, without something. It's made up of some substance, spiritual substance, that holds everything connected to the form that it is today, including you, the shape, the way you look, the solid table that we think it's solid but it's not, the chairs. There is an intelligence behind it.
So if someone today is having a bad day or in a bad place in their lives, when they feel stuck, like you said, they feel stuck. Don't know what to do, can't do anything about it. What tip or exercise or routine would you give just for someone listening out there that they can go and implement themselves and see what happens for them?
There's a beautiful quote from the Quran. It's an ayah. Washkuruni la azidannakum. This is where the form of gratitude comes into play. Thank me, and I shall provide you more. See, the people that are having lack in their life is because of their failure to acknowledge God in the form of gratitude. Right? I'm a firm believer that, here's the thing. Let's say you have 2 children. You give them a lot of things. One of them always complains. The other one is showing you a lot of gratitude, hugs you, kisses you, and tells you he loves you. Which one would you feel like giving to?
The gratitude.
Yeah. Now, if you want to dwell into the laws of the universe as a science, from a scientific point of view, we got science and theology. That's the only 2 references we can go back to. Theology deals with religion and spiritual aspects of things. Science deals with the mechanical and metaphysical quantum, way of looking at things. But when both outcomes of resolution, or when science and theology meet halfway, then you know that information is correct. The only thing that I would say to the person who is stuck is, do you count your blessings every day? Do you literally list down, as soon as you wake up, the things that you're grateful for? For example, the air that you breathe, the roof you have over your head, whatever it may be. You're either a fault finder or a good finder. Energy flows where the attention goes. Anything you focus on more expands in your life. So if you're focusing on problems, guess what you're going to attract to expand in your life?
More problems.
More problems. You don't want that. You see, there is this divine energy that flows to and through you. It's unadulterated spirit energy. It's neither created nor destroyed. It's the reason why you have the awareness that you do. It's the reason why you can use your higher 6 faculties that I've mentioned before. It's the reason why you have the gift of imagination. Albert Einstein said that your imagination is a preview to your life's coming attractions.
I love it.
So have you ever been to a movie?
Yeah, it's like a trailer.
Yeah.
I love it.
There was someone else who said, "Lo, with what I have feared the most have come to visit upon me," which means that he's been entertaining a negative idea long enough that he's manifested it. Right? Our Prophet ﷺ mentioned, "Tafa'alu bil khayri tajiduh." Be inspired that the good is coming and you shall see it. You shall find it. So why are we doubting it?
Why are we doubting it? It's a lack of trust in it.
Lack of trust, not in the divine as much as in yourself. See,
what is the saying in the Quran, or even I'm sure, pretty sure this would be in every religious text, and it is a law of the universe as well. If you give, you shall receive.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you give charity, let's say, you should receive 5-fold, 10-fold, whatever it is. Now, if that was a mechanical thing and you're like, okay, for every dollar I give, I get $5 back, let's just keep it simple. Why do we not just constantly invest? And and the funny thing is, okay, so this is in the Quran, right? You give, you receive. Now, if you're doing it with intention of not getting anything back, you probably end up getting more. And even if your intention is to get something back, you will still get something back, right? Now, if you read most books of the Law of Universe, Think and Grow Rich, or any billionaire's book on how they become rich, are always talking about charity and giving, right? Because they know it's a law of the universe. So is it just that we don't believe it, we're not patient enough, like we want it now?
Here's the thing. If I want to go a little bit deeper. In the book of Law of Success, I've read this book long time ago, and it's quite a thick volume. It's a little over 1,000 pages, and he had a golden rule in the beginning of the chapters. I think it was chapter 1 or 2. He had a list of high-ranking people in life, and one of them I think was Jesse James, and how he had a downfall, and probably a couple of more. And there were these other names who have achieved high status during their times. They've maintained that status. And he pointed it down that the ones that have maintained, they had a golden rule. And that golden rule was never to estimate the power of prayer. You see, what is prayer? It's not just lip service. You know, prayer is a genuine connection between the servant and the Supreme.
It's communication.
Yeah. It's a genuine, as you said, communication between the servant and the Supreme. What does that make us? We're servants.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do? There are two things that when you reach to that realization of it, you know you have to do two things. Number one, to make the best out of yourself at any vocational of your liking. Make the best out of yourself. And number two, serve. Provide your service. There's a lot of people, they need your service. Why are you shying away from the talents that you have? A lot of people, even, let's say you don't have the, you tell yourself, I don't have the talent today. That's false. God's gift to you is greater than all of that. Steve Bowe said it best. He said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability that we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. So don't tell me that you don't have the talents or the abilities. You're just a decision away from getting where you want to be. Just a decision away. Nothing more. Abilities and talents you'll develop along the way if you're willing. If you're willing, the ability is automatically there. You don't need to look further.
It's like with the what they say, right? When you have the why, you'll figure out the how.
Absolutely.
But why? Why are you doing this? Why do you, let me ask you, why do you wake up in the morning?
Back in the day, I used to wake up in the morning feeling I gotta go to my 9 to 5 grind. Now I wake up every morning and I say, who can I serve today? See, we're all made up of energy and we come from the same source, whether you're as a human being or any material out here, right? There is a law of reciprocity. If I'm helping someone, I'm not helping them. I'm elevating them. But the blessings that God opens for you, you're actually doing yourself a favor more than anything. But the intention that you put behind whatever you give has to be an acknowledgement that you're doing it for the love of God alone. I don't look at it any other way. My first priority is this. If you can connect with me on this fundamental itself, we can move forward. I want to see you succeed wholeheartedly, not halfway. Why? Because with God, I know everything is possible. I know. Most people are stuck because they have a disbelief, or they feel they don't deserve God's help. Right? The way that I managed to get out of the depressed lifestyle that I used to have, because I used to be attached to things and people, is this. I got to the point that I realized that my heart is very sacred. Why am I entertaining things that stains it? It's a sacred place. And it has to be a place for something greater. And there is no other being except the Creator.
That is so beautiful. Heart's a sacred place.
Yes.
Why would you want to entertain anything or anyone that stains it? Does this also mean, and I think it should mean, we should cut the bullshit out of our lives?
Absolutely.
And that includes people,
Yes.
places, things,
Yeah.
anyone who's staining your heart.
Yeah.
And when you say your heart, you mean your soul as well, right? You're talking about your soul, like
You see,
you, the being.
the being. It's the spiritual heart,
Spiritual heart.
not the physical,
Of course.
right? Here's the thing.
And why would you waste time talking to anyone that's going to stain your heart? That's a bad place to place yourself. You wouldn't go travel and somewhere where it's danger around you and there's a chance a lion's going to eat you if you're walking around. So why would you do that on your everyday life? It doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely not. But that will never change until you start to get honest with yourself. You see, most people, the reason why they feel the guilt or the resentment or whatever they have, well, these are all negative attributes. Buddha stated that when you have guilt and resentment, it's like you're holding a hot, fiery coal. You want to throw it at someone, but you can't. Who's burning here? Yourself. Right? Why stay in that living hell? You paid for it once, twice. Why a freaking lifetime? It doesn't make sense. You're here for a very limited time. Look, I'm 40 years old today. I don't know how long I have in this world before I cross over. But at least if I do something that I really feel that I made a difference in this world, in community-wise, educational-wise, technology-wise, whatever that may look like. But I know that I have done something for the greater good before I leave. I know that I have fulfilled my purpose. I could die in peace. It's a comfort, When you realize where you came from, you can never get out of life alive, as Les Brown puts it. And he says, if you're going through hell, keep going. Right? Because there's always a calm after the storm. There is always a calm after the storm.
You hope. Unless you're dead. Which I was going to ask you. It's really random to your conversation here, but I think relevant at the same time. Addiction.
Yeah.
I think, and that's why I'm in the calm, like if you make it through, if you make it to the calm through the storm, you know what I mean? You don't OD or something in the process. Addiction, there's a physical component and there's a spiritual component, a psychological component, you know, like, is it emotional or is it physical? And I think, do you have anything to add here on that?
See, addiction stems from an emotional, which stems from a psychological. See, nothing precedes thought. Nothing. You cannot feel anything if you have not thought of that thing, and you're not going to do anything if you don't feel that thing. Right? But you keep doing that repeatedly, chasing dopamine, and it's sad, but it, you know, in some cases you do get physically dependent on some substances, which, you know, it's horrifying at times. I've lost a couple of friends, you know, when they went down that road. And it's because they didn't have an emotional support. Give love to everyone. I got 2 kids of my own. Yes, I'm quite disciplined with my children, but I don't break their spirit. I give them a lot of love, and I try to make them understand, you know, where their mistakes are in a very nice way. Feelings are real. Feeling is vibration. You know, when Ralph Waldo Emerson stated, he said, the law of cause and effect is the law of laws. What is the cause and effect? The effect is mental in nature. Sorry, the cause is mental in nature. The effect is the physical behavior and the environment that you get to see in your life. You don't know how dark someone's life is. But if you see someone who is really stuck in a certain addiction, give them a helping hand. If you don't know how to help them, then at least make them understand that it's fine, things will get better, and take them to someone professional initially. You know, even Bob Proctor carried a lot of guilt and resentment during his life. And he went to see a psychiatrist. Couple of sessions down the line, he realized he didn't have to go anymore. And his issue was he used to get a lot of migraines. My kind of roller coaster in my life was I carried a lot of guilt because I've done things I wasn't proud of. You know. And my issue was that I couldn't forgive some people, let alone forgive myself. You know.
So you'd hold grudges to heart.
Yeah. So, number one, it is what it is. You can't change the past.
Absolutely not.
You know, accept it. Accept that whatever happened, happened. Number two, try to harvest the good from the situation that took place, that made you end up to where you are. There is always a seed of an equivalent benefit to every adversity. I'm not saying like immediately you're going to see it. I said it's a seed.
And there's always opportunity in every travesty.
Yeah.
It's funny how life is balanced like that.
Absolutely. So
Did you forgive them?
Yes, because ultimately that was a blockage in me that I had, that if I would ask something, and if I don't have a clean heart, if I have not forgiven someone, I'm continuously bugged about it. I'm feeling negative, right?
Of course.
You don't want to be in that state.
The only person who suffers
It's you.
is you when you hold a grudge against someone else, because that other person is not thinking about you, doesn't care about you, it's not bothering them. And so I never understood why as humans we would self-inflict ourselves by going through that suffering. So I never had, but I mean, for me it's hard to understand because I never hold grudges. I've never had, right?
Just great.
Like, you can be bad to me. Yeah. I might not like you for it, but I will just not talk to you, but I don't hold the grudge. I will not hate you for it, and I will forgive you for it, by the way. I just won't speak to you, but I will forgive you. Like, I don't hold anything personally against you, and if you come along again, yeah, sure. Because I'm like, why should I feel miserable for someone else's behavior? Like, at the end of the day, they wronged me, so they wronged their own soul, not mine.
I'll try to summarize something here in my most convenient way of understanding it, where it would be easier to whoever's listening as well. I don't expect you to believe me initially, but take it upon yourself as by faith. Imagine your heart. Now, I said it's a sacred place earlier. My belief is this: your heart is a throne. You know, in Arabic, I like to call it قلب الإنسان عرش الرحمن. Your heart is a throne for God alone. Now, how did I get out of all of those situations? Because I acknowledge something on a daily basis to me, and I do repeat it in my own head as well as I say it to myself sometimes when I'm driving. ما بيني وبين دنياي ربي في قلبي. That what's between myself and my entire world is God within my heart.
That's beautiful.
Why I do this practice is because I want to be in an attunement with my Creator. There is no power greater than this, is when you hold God with you and in you. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. So you're in a continuous state of remembrance, is what we like to call dhikr. I cannot imagine my life without it today. It took me a great deal to reach to how I feel today, and I would not give it up for anything.
It's priceless.
It's priceless.
What you're feeling is like a treasure. Like, you can't buy that.
You never can buy it. I cannot give it to you, but I could guide you
to find it. That's amazing.
Right? Your heart at the same time, I want you to imagine that your heart is a mirror. Greed, selfishness, resentment, guilt, envy, all of these negative attributes that you hold from these things that I've just mentioned are like stains on your heart, right? Grab a mirror today, and for each one of those, paint those spots, right? You're holding something in your mind that you desire. You have an intention, you're asking God for something. You hold that in your mind. You feel you want it, you somehow deserve it, but there's something else stuck in you. Now, if you hold a projector, you know the old projectors? You put a paper on a light, reflects on the mirror onto the wall. Imagine this is like the mechanical side of what I'm trying to explain here. If there is some stains on the mirror, is the reflection going to be exactly as what you pictured it to?
No. It's going to have stains on it.
You have stains on it. So there's three things. Forgiveness. That's number one. Forgive others. But most importantly, forgive yourself. Repentance. You know, sometimes if you're having a difficulty to forgive yourself, give it to God. Let God handle that for you. You know? Let go. Abandon completely. Give it to the divine. May God bless you with the peace that you seek. But be truthful to yourself that you will refrain from the things that make you feel this way. So we said forgiveness, repentance, and gratitude. These are the three things that have helped me to come into alignment, where I started to feel that I deserve nothing but the best in my life. I started feeling worthy. I can speak for myself today. That's how I truly feel. I don't have to do any lip service for anyone.
No.
This is just me. But you see, the shift in my state of being, backed up by God within my heart, is priceless, as you said. Now, being in this vibe all the time, and in this state of consciousness, if you want to go after something, can anything or anyone come and stop you from what you want to do?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
This is why, whenever I talk to someone, that this is my fundamental right here. All the other psychological steps, you'll go through them right away. You'll fly through them. You'll fly through them. No delays. Why? You told me you wake up every day, pumped up, you want to go. It's because you know you're worth it. I want to make you feel, and everybody else listening to this, that no matter where you are today, it has nothing to do where you're going to go, with where you're going to go, or where you're going to take yourself to. I know how to give you a vibrational switch that you're seeking. But you have to listen to me. I'm not here to entertain time wasters. You either do exactly as I tell you, or I move on. I want to see results in you. And I know that that kind of results that which you seek can only come from one source: God. That's rule number one. Rule number two, there are steps that you have to study and understand yourself a little bit better and what you're composed of. You have to understand the laws of the mind and how it works in relation to your body, your behavior, and the vibration that you're in. If you're not coachable, then I'm wasting my time. I genuinely want the best for you. And if this is not something that resonates with you, fine. But I guarantee you, if your method is not working for you, that you don't feel your best, why don't you try mine?
I love that. And by the way, for anyone listening, I've tried it. And I came with an open mind and an open heart to you. I'm not afraid of trying new things. And I might have been skeptical beforehand in terms of what the effect could be, like I'm sure many people might be initially. So I want to actually say that having done these sessions with you completely changed my mindset, completely changed my life, my energy, my vibration, as you call it. And everything changed. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling undeserving, if you're feeling you need to improve something, if you feel like you're not getting to where you need to be or where you want to go, you have nothing to lose but everything to gain by getting in touch with this amazing, amazing man, Ahmed Bahman. And I highly, highly advise everyone to get in touch. Ahmed, we're running out of time. It's been an absolute honor, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot more of these sessions. And we definitely want to talk later about the things that you've got upcoming for the masses that can help a lot of people. But I really, really, really want to drive home here because I know a lot of people are stuck right now that need your help today. I know that, and I know that because people get in touch with me all the time with their problems, you know, and obviously I'm not a coach, you know, I'm not here to help them on that level, right? I can help only on advising on business side and things like that, or motivate you. I'm the guy who push you, but I'm not the guy who show you the steps to go through your inner belief and your inner change. And you sold me, you made me a believer. And you know, if anyone's listening, trust me, you're missing out if you don't take these sessions. You have nothing to lose.
All I ask, all I seek is I want you to live the best version of yourself, whoever you're listening, wherever you're from, whatever your background is. Remember, your time has not even started yet to shine. I can show you how valuable you are if only you allow me to set you free. Because if you allow me, you're ultimately going to learn and apply to enter into a new life of where this priceless freedom comes from. And I'm genuinely sending this message out to you. All the other aspects of attracting things, rewards for the services that you give, everything that you seek, you want to have, the kind of person you want to become, that's all attainable, and those steps are easy. They're very easy. I can help you get there. If you tell me what you want, as Bob said, I can show you how to get it.
Amazing. Spoken truly from the heart, as always. Thank you, Ahmed, for coming on.
You're welcome,
to
and
this
thank you,
podcast.
Brother Hussein.
Thank you.